Our experiences with people could be bitter or sweet. Of course, we all desire to have relationships where we can be fully seen, fully heard, and fully loved. My hope is that this podcast will help you navigate your relationships from friendship to dating and marriage so that you too can enjoy beautiful relationships. My name is Onome, and together we're growing and becoming. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Growing and Becoming. How was your week? Let me tell you, I was supposed to release the previous episode like earlier, but then I was just experiencing so many setbacks, and that was very frustrating. But because I love you all, I have to keep pushing. I know how much this podcast means to quite a number of you, and I really appreciate you for sticking around. And for those of you who noticed that I hadn't put out an episode, thank you for checking in on me. And thank you again for all the wonderful feedback. But yeah, so in the last two episodes, I put out a poll asking you all to choose who you wanted to see next because I noticed that quite a number of you really liked having someone else with me on the podcast. And most of you voted for best friends. So, of course, you spoke and I have delivered. Today on the podcast, we have second guests, but they're like two people. So I don't know if we can say they're the second or like second and third, but then they're together. So yeah, I'll leave you to work that out. But yeah, I am so grateful that I was able to get two very amazing best friends. I've known them for a while, and their friendship has just always been so beautiful to watch. In fact, I think they are best friend goals, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll leave them to introduce themselves. Welcome, girls. Which one of you wants to go first?
Hi, hi, Anome.
Hi.
As you were saying the intros, I was like, yeah, pressure to wow. The pressure is on. Hi, everyone. I guess I'll go first. My name is Faith.
So, Faith, who are you? Like, what should we know about you? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm a public health professional. All right, I'm a Christian. Also I'm trying to think about interesting things about me. I'm not sure there's much to it, but I guess that summarizes it.
I
And your Melody's
disagree.
best friend.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
Melody's best friend, the second
period.
guest.
So now we've said a bit about Melody. Melody, Faith's best friend. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Melody. I am Faith's best friend. I am a public health professional as well. She farms me. Oh, I don't know, but yeah. So we're both in the same line of work. But yeah, I'm a public health professional, public speaker, leader. Yeah, I think those two
Yeah,
are the core.
Mel is that lady. Like
Mm,
she's that girl, you know.
power woman and
Please,
that.
That power
please.
woman. Do you get?
What?
And it's so interesting that both of you are like doing the same profession. How cute is that, guys? Like
Mm-hmm.
your best friend, and then you're literally doing the same profession. But yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Melody and Faith, for agreeing to join me on this episode. You both are fantastic, and I love you both so much. So it's such an honor, it's such a delight for me to have you on the podcast. You both, aside being best friends to one another, you're like very special friends to me too.
Aww.
I'm really happy to know you both because wow, everybody needs people like you as a friend. And you see, that's what this episode is about. Friendship is one aspect of relationships that feel I feel like people tend to downplay it, or they don't give it as much priority, as much attention, as much intentionality as they do to romantic relationships. And obviously, that's a problem because romantic relationships is not all there is to life, right? It's very important that we build meaningful friendships. And even the person that you tend to end up with romantically, chances are you start off as friends, right? So this episode is going to help us gain more knowledge, practical knowledge, obviously, from your experience as friends. Um, it will help us understand how to choose good friends. What exactly does that look like? Because it's one thing to give people this, I don't know, like it's one thing for you to throw words at people and be like, oh, you have to do this and that, don't do this, don't do that. Okay, but practically, what does that look like? So, just like every other episode, this one will have a lot of practicalities that people can then take to their own relationships and hopefully try to apply what they learn. And one thing as well that I would really love for us to get out of this episode is to understand how to build a successful friendship, right? Because I know that it's one thing to be sociable, but it's another thing to actually build a friendship. Okay, I will just jump right into it. I would like to start by asking how you two met. How did you meet and how long have you been friends? Give us the whole gist about this friendship duo.
Mel,
Hmm.
do you want to go first, or
I
should
don't
I?
know. Wait. Okay.
Okay, she says I'm the one that is better with dates, so let me go first.
Very
So
honest.
we met in 2017 officially. We
Wow.
met in university undergraduate because we were both course mates. So that was how we met officially. And she says I farmed her or like walked up to her first, but that is not the truth. She was
Wow.
the one that walked up to me. I remember what I was wearing. I remember we're about to have, I think was it English language class in
Hmm.
front of one of the halls, and she was just talking to me. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, because I'm a very quiet person. I like to think I'm quiet, anyways. And that was how we met officially. So it's been 7 years since we met, but I think our relationship took a turn, or like we got closer. I would say maybe 2019 ish,
Mhm.
2020. So, like 4 years of us being very close friends.
Wow. I like the fact that you remember the dates. Do you know what's interesting? You would find this dynamic with people like couples, like romantic
Mhm.
couples. They never agree on how they met. Well, you hardly find a couple that like shares the same story.
Mhm.
Everyone has their version. So I will not be doing Melody any good if I just run with your own narration, Faith. So Melody, please tell us how you met Faith. And how did you become friends?
Okay, so the part of faith, like knowing the dates, is very accurate because I don't know, I'm not too good with them, but yes, we did meet in 2017, and okay, I think she farms me on a level, but I also did the same. So like she said, she wasn't the talkative kind of person, and I'm very like sociable and the kind of person that's like, "Hi, who are you? Let's get to know one another." So I went up to her and I just had a conversation with her, and I think after that I was just having conversations with her, and yeah, that's basically how we met through that class. We attended the same university, had the same courses, were in the same class. So yeah, so that was how we met.
I really love the fact that you've been able to maintain your friendship this long. I mean, you've known each other for, I'm guessing this year makes it 7 years, and then you've been best friends for four out of that. So I can see like that space where you were acquaintances and then things kind of intensified, would I say? But like things kind of picked up and then you found yourselves as best friends. I think that's really cool. So Faith, what made you decide to choose Melody as a close friend? I mean, it's one thing for you to have her as a course mate and acquaintance, but then like from that period where you were just acquaintances or like, casual friends to actually deciding, wow, this person is my person. What exactly happened in between? What is it about Melody that made you consider her as a friend?
Okay, I'd say that after we were, met as classmates, we just naturally, I would say, gravitated towards each other. I think because we just had a similar background and just, for lack of better term, vibe with each other. I wasn't looking for any like close friendships or anything like that. But it just sort of like happened that we'll go to classes together, we'll do like assessments together. We just found ourselves as, oh, you seem like a very serious minded person that knows what they're doing in school. I am as well. Oh yeah, let's be calling each other when there's class and let's go together. Right. So I'd say when it became a thing where we both agreed to take it to another level, which sounds very serious, but maybe you do need to have this kind of conversations with friendships as well. I'll say that was like 2019, 2020, somewhere in between there. And I just guess as people during those 2 years, I would say that for both of us as people, we changed a lot. I think we had the COVID-19 lockdown and things like that. And we just realized more and more that we share so many values in common. And I think one of the things that really brought us together was our faith as Christians, because that was the time we would, like, for example, we would, because we almost literally share the same Instagram feed, and they'll be like, oh, this program is happening online, and you see that maybe Melody had commented on it, and I'll be like, oh, are you going for this like Zoom meeting, like this Zoom prayer meeting or this Zoom worship meeting? I'll be like, yes. And then we'll join together, and then we'll join, and then we'll talk about like, oh my god, that was this, and then yeah, I think that was it. So I think it was more about the values that I was not intentionally like looking out for, but it was just some things that we shared together, that we had in common, that brought us together. But now looking back in hindsight, I would say it's the values that we shared, such as our faith. Melody is also a very kind person, always willing to go the extra mile. So instances like that, times like that, will just stick out to you as a person, as a human being. It will soften your heart and make you be like, oh, she cares.
Oh,
I remember this particular Valentine's Day. I can't remember what year. This might be like maybe 2018, 2019. I think it was 2018. So in school, we have like random vendors around, and then I had cut my hair then, so I was trying to regrow my hair, and I randomly just told her as we're passing by, I was like, oh, I've heard that vitamin E oil, because like that was one of the things that the person was saying. I was like, oh, I've heard that vitamin E oil helps you to regrow your hair. And then believe you me, I came to my room like the next day, and I saw it on like my shelf by my bedside. She was like with a cute note, like happy Valentine's Day, I love you. So it was things like that, I would say.
oh my God, that's so beautiful. Ah, and like, so Melody, I will come to you, but I just really love the fact that you mentioned something that she did for you. That's often something that we see in romantic relationships, right?
Mm.
People are going out of their way to be sweet and loving. And even on Valentine's Day, it's hard for you to see that friends are making each other feel loved. It's usually about the the spouse or the romantic partner. So I think it's
Mhm.
very beautiful that you have someone who, and your friendship hadn't even like peaked at the time. It was still at the beginning or like the early phases. And yeah, Melody, I sweet baby.
She really is.
Thank God.
But I mean, to be fair, everything Faith said about Melody is so true. And I'm glad I know how to attest to that. But yeah, Melody, please tell us how you met Faith. What's exactly about Faith captured your heart and swept you off your feet to the extent that you're leaving her cute presence on Valentine's Day.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. I think before like I share my part, I just like to say that I didn't even remember that I did that. To tell you the truth, like I've
Wow.
done like I not like I had done many things, but like I have. I don't know. I even felt like she did a lot more than I probably have done. But
Hmm.
anyway, so I'm really grateful that we share these memories in the first place. But yeah, so for me, everything that she said and more is who Faith is. Like she's so kind. She's so different. Like that was what I saw when I, first approached her. I was like, this baby's just different. Like, why why is so different? And it was different in a good way because like she said, we shared similarities. Like we both believed in God. We both like would attend different like personal development maybe workshops, whether they were Christian or not Christian. I would be like, oh, when I joined this is what they said. And, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And we did that a lot. And it strengthened our relationship, I believe, because we're now growing together and becoming like the people that we are today.
Oh my God, growing and becoming.
Woohoo!
I'm sorry, I just had to. But yeah, please go on.
And one thing I would say that really drew me to Faith was the fact that she exemplified Christ without, having to say, give your life to Christ. You will perish in hell if you don't. That kind of thing. Her life was just like that. She has the fruit of the spirit. If I'm being very honest, Faith has the character, the gentleness, the compassion that Christ has. And it's so easy to love someone when they are just like Jesus. So
Yeah.
for me, I think that's really it. Her character really drew me in to be like, oh, I want to be friends with this person and just be in
Hmm.
my life. So yeah.
Brilliant. I'm just taking note of some of the things you said for my own records because, wow. One thing that
Mm,
you said I would really love people who are listening to pay close attention to is the fact that so Faith remembers Melody doing something significant, but then Melody feels like, I don't really remember that because it came from a genuine place. At the same time, she's not keeping scores.
mhm.
And she also saying that I feel like Melody has done way more, and even at the time she was doing way more, so it's like, oh, I don't remember that. So to you that was like the least, but it was intentional for you to be so attentive to the needs of your friend and want to meet them. So like, whilst Faith was probably being herself, and you were falling in love with who she was, you were also being yourself, and Faith was falling in love with who that person is. However, both of you were intentional. So, as much as it was within your character, there is some intentionality in some of the things that you did for each other. And we're even talking back then. So, I can imagine that that's the same case now because you are still friends. Just like in other kinds of relationships, in your friendships, please try to outdo one another. And secondly, you mentioned that she has a good character. This is so important because if you're thinking of having a friend, you want to have someone who would influence you for the better. Because I mean, whether or not you even want to be influenced, if you are spending time with somebody, you will be influenced by them. Whatever the case may be, something about them will rub off on you. So it's so important that you find someone whose values align with yours and someone whose character is good, someone whose character is in alignment with where you are going, is in alignment with all the things that are moral and ethical and godly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so I don't get ahead of myself, another thing I would really love to know is how your journey has been. I mean, you
Mm.
shared with us how you became friends, but I imagine that even more things have changed in your lives. I know that Faith said you both went through changes, especially in that very crazy period of everybody's life, everybody's lives. But I imagine that 4 or 5 years later, so much more has changed. How have you been able to navigate your individual journeys and still be this close, still show up for one another?
Should I go first?
I'm fine with that.
Of course, you're fine.
Classic Melody and Faith.
Oh my god. Okay, so okay, I think I'll go first. So for me, I would say that it's in the intentionality and romanticizing the relationship. So
Mm,
just like you would like do things for when you're dating someone or married to someone or in a relationship with someone or even with your siblings, it's the same way Faith and I kind of view our relationship. So for me, I know one thing that we used to do was, and this was initiated by Faith, and I really liked the idea, was that from time to time, sometimes she would say, okay, let's review like some of our thought processes, or let's review, where we are right now. How do you want me to be of like my best help to you. And we've been doing that from time to time. We don't plan it, but we're just like, oh, if it comes up, we're like, okay, yeah, let's do this and let's know how we can help one another in this particular phase of our lives. But one thing that is constant is that we've chosen to be best friends for life. Like we've chosen that, okay, oh, come rain, come shine, we're still going to be here for one another. We're following God's leading. We don't hope that anything will stop this, but
Yeah.
we're just setting our minds on like we're in this for life. So even if you go to
Mm.
me, I'm still going to be your best friend. And even if I'm in Singapore, I'm still your best friend. So and we still romanticize it. Like Faith that was even talking about, me gifting her this babe, even the Valentine's Day that just passed, she sent me something that I wasn't even expecting. So, and she does it all the time. She really does it all the time. So, and I'm just really grateful that, like Onome said, like it's a love relationship. It's just us romanticizing it. Like we're just best friends that want to just live our lives, enjoying the moments and just being there for one another. So I would say intentionality, romanticize your friendships. It's not every she doesn't need to tell me she needs this before I know I'll ask. Or, just learn to kind of be there for the person the best way you can and communicate as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
one thing Faye does is like, okay, how can I respond to you in this time in this way? Things like that. So she does that when maybe like she notices something changed or my mood or whatever. She's like, okay, how can I support? And that's amazing. So intentionality and romanticizing your friendship.
That's so good. Faith, you
Mm-hmm.
want to share?
Yeah. So in terms of how like the whole journey has been, I'll summarize it as it being really good. Great, actually. Scratch that. It has been great. And I think it's not because we've not had our difficulties or differences. I'm sure by the way we sound now, it sounds like, oh my goodness, these girls just hug and kiss whenever they see each other. it's not it's not the case, right? We do have disagreements. I think especially at the beginning phases of our like relationship. And it wasn't like now I can't remember half of the things, right? But it
Mhm.
was just back then knowing that I'm a good person, she's a good person, whatever it is, we can work it out, talk about it. And most times, it just might be miscommunication.
Mm.
So yeah, like she said, being intentional and being there for each other because we have really grown and changed in the past years. Like dynamics have changed. We didn't used to one of the benefits we had when we were in undergraduates in uni was that we see each other like every day. I'm not even exaggerating because we were within the confines of school, but now we don't see each other so often. And you don't want it to be a thing of out of sight, out of mind. You
Yeah.
want to
Mm.
constantly be speaking. Like I think we talk to each other every day. Even
Yeah.
if it's just hi, hello, have you eaten? Okay, bye. All right. And I always jokingly tell her that she's like my if I ever go missing, she's the one that that they will be able to she will know easily because like Faith has not texted me in 3 hours. Even if it's oh I'm leaving the office now. Oh I'm home. Okay, thank God. Bye. That
Oh,
kind of
wow.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has taken a lot of work because
Mm.
me generally coming into like a friendship or something that required so much work, I would say I was initially averse in my past friendships and even in like it's still something I'm learning. I can be such a one-off kind of person. Like we can talk. I'm kind of person that I'm fine if I talk to you once in 2 weeks, but Melody is
Mm.
not. So I had to I had to come and meet her where she
Oh
was, and it
gosh.
wasn't easy
Mm.
for me because like I don't want to be talking too much. Like what is it? But
Yeah.
now it's a routine now, like literally, and I love
Mm.
it. I love being a part of her every day and
Yeah.
sharing life with her.
Oh, thanks, babe.
That's so beautiful. To be fair, as much as I am very passionate about the topic of relationships, there are aspects of some of my relationships that I definitely need to improve on. So I'm constantly learning, reading books, seeking out knowledge, seeking out guidance. And I think you both have really said a lot for me to go and think about. And one of these things is understanding each other's differences. You said something so beautiful. You had your comfort zone. You are someone who is happy to go on a friendship for like and not speak for like a few days, like you're fine with that, right? As am I, to be honest. But you have a friend who doesn't really find that, who doesn't really appreciate that. And obviously, from a good place. I think one thing to also note is that whenever people, like, if people are demanding certain, or people have certain expectations of you, it might not necessarily be because they are trying to stress you out or anything. It might just be like that's how they view life. Because the thing is, some of the people you call friends will come from different backgrounds, and meaning that they will meaning that they will have different viewpoints on several aspects of life. And I think it's just very beautiful to say, you know what, I'm able to come out of my comfort zone or try something different just to meet this person halfway, or at least try to love this person how they want to be loved. You could have very easily said, well, I'm not the kind of person who calls people frequently or like lets people in on my daily activities. That's just weird. But then you said, no, okay, this person I love, she appreciates this. So I'm going to do it because she likes it. So it also boils back to the initial point of outdoing each other in love. And I really like that. And I really hope that someone here can evaluate their current relationships. Is that something that you are not doing? And I'm speaking to myself as well, because relationships in general take a lot of intentionality, a lot of stepping out of your comfort zone. I used to be someone as well who, yeah, I really don't care that much. If we talk every week, that's totally fine. I never really saw it as a bad thing until I started to make friends, more friends, and I realized, oh, people actually value this quality time. People value communication. They don't want to not hear from you. They want to tell you how their day is going, all that sort of thing. At first, when I started to notice that, it was a bit of an inconvenience. So I would run away from it because I just felt like high maintenance friendships were just too much for me and I wasn't interested. So I wanted someone who would be low maintenance. Let's just talk once in like a month and catch up, you know. I don't know if you saw that Twitter thing. I think someone tweeted something on Valentine's Day, or rather the days leading up to Valentine's Day. Someone tweeted something saying, so this Valentine's Day, please don't waste our time. Just say your name, the
Your
name of your
partner's
spouse,
name.
I think, and what the Lord has done for you. So like I like those kind of catch up. Just tell me what the Lord has done for you in the past 4 weeks. Let's keep it going. Okay, good. 1 hour every month. We're fine. Like we've caught up with each other's lives. I mean, but then I don't think any solid, close knitted relationship can thrive that way. There has to be an intense, for lack of a better word, intense level of intentionality towards staying in communication. So think of it this way. Imagine you are dating someone and you don't hear from them for a week, 2 weeks. You would definitely doubt their love and commitment to that relationship. Some of the people that will go on to be our very good friends might be people that we meet in high school, uni, work, in church, on the streets, online, random places. And so you have to be very intentional to get to know them. And one of those ways is by communicating. You cannot know the person that you are in a relationship with if you are not talking enough. I think it takes a level of commitment and dedication, like a level of doggedness to say, you know what, beyond the issues that we might have, we're in it for life. Like you've already told each other point blank, meaning if you do even go to have an argument tomorrow, you are still going to do what you can to resolve it and keep it moving. Keep going at it. Like don't end a friendship because somebody has annoyed you once or like done something you don't like. But then, how do you deal with conflicts in friendships? How are you able to move through hurt from a friend? And like, how do you know that a friendship is worth salvaging?
I'm like, oh, this is what happened, and like, what do we do? That's it.
Mm,
Like, oh, you did this 2017. How? I can't even remember. I can't remember honestly. But yeah, yeah, yeah. That Faith has really summarized it very well.
that's so great. Just off the back of what you just said, Melody, what if someone has a friend and they hit some really rocky waters. Perhaps like you're trying your best to move on, but then the other person is not seeming very forthcoming, or it feels like you're the one doing so much and they're not meeting you halfway. They become very laid back about it. What advice would you give to someone who really wants to have a long lasting relationship? Because also bearing in mind that there are people who are obsessed with longevity. I would say obsessed because sometimes, yeah, it might just be like, well, it has come to an end, but then they just want to hold on because they want to be one of those who can boast of a long-term friendship that has spanned for decades and decades. But what would you advise someone, generally speaking?
Wow, wow, this is very what would I say to someone in this case? Okay, I would say that first of all, being very honest with yourself is very important. Like that's the first thing. Like being honest with how you've seen your relationship with this person over the years, where you are right now, and like if you think truly that this is something worth continuing or breaking up. Um,
Yeah.
so, because that's very, very important. Um, I would say that once you've identified that, okay, maybe the other person is not really, trying to be your best friend anymore, is just not really interested in a friendship, even if it's just a friendship with you, because there is friendship hurt and it does happen. One thing I
Yeah.
would say is just like I said, be honest with yourself. Just don't underestimate the impact that you might also have made in the person's life, it's
Mm-hmm.
positively or negatively. So just be like, okay, this is where I am. And your conscience never lies. If truly, in a position where you know that, okay, I didn't really do anything to warrant like a split or the person just losing interest in me, then I think at that point you can either communicate with the person and be like, okay, hey, left to me, I would like to continue this friendship, but it's fine if you don't like, want to continue and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
try your best to be content with your decision because it will still hurt. Yes, friendship hurt doesn't go overnight, but one thing I would say is that try your best to be content and just know that no matter what, like there will always be people that you can talk to, communicate with. There will always
Yeah.
people you would meet in the future. So that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work with this person doesn't mean that in the future you won't meet other people or that God is not even, calling you to do better things or greater things or even form a community hub by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just don't be too hard on yourself. And one thing like I said, make sure you do that introspection because it will also make you see the other person from a place of love, no matter how justified you might be to say that, oh my gosh, I'm not the problem. Just make
Yeah.
sure that okay, your own place, you've done what you need to do and let it go. Just yeah, that's what I would say. And you will definitely meet people. I mean, there are so many people on the earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wonder if I could just add something to this as well. Like just highlighting again what Melody has said that it will sometimes it will actually hurt. Like I've had friendships that I've had to let go of, not because it was like, there are times when friendships just kind of like ooze out just because maybe people move cities, people move things.
Yeah,
But you
like it
guys are
just
still,
fades out.
yeah, you are still friends, like active friends. But there have been friendships that have like literally stopped abruptly in the middle of my
Mm-hmm.
track, or like in the middle of your tracks that actually led to like tears and you were like like what's going on there. I think that introspection is very important. Like, okay, what is it that I could have done, right? And I think knowing when to walk away can be hard sometimes because this is someone that you share so much with and that you truly truly really love,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, it's just it's not easy. It's not
Seriously,
easy.
no.
Walking away is not easy sometimes, but I think yeah, honestly, like with friendships like that, it's just always still wishing them the best, praying for them when they even like come to mind sometimes, but just
Yeah.
knowing that I think something I had to come to terms with is I might have just been the villain in this person's story, even though I do not understand it,
Mhm.
and I'll probably never
Mm-hmm.
understand, and that really hurts because I think at that time in my life as well, I was also learning, unlearning being a people pleaser. So it was like,
Yeah.
how could me, that I'm so nice, I'm so kind, I'm like
Is
this
it
to
me,
everyone.
Jesus?
So I was like, I had to come to terms with the fact that I might just have been a villain in this and hurt this person in ways that, I can probably not understand because I just see myself as
Yeah,
a saint, right?
exactly. Honestly, and it takes a lot of maturity to say, you know what, maybe I'm the problem.
Mhm.
I was having a conversation with a colleague, and she was just telling me about someone she knows who seems to have lost all her friends. And she knows that there are issues with this person, but she doesn't know if this person is aware enough of their own issues, because now it's now a thing of, oh, everyone is so fake, nobody loves me, it's hard to find people who are real, blah, blah, da, da, da. To be honest, yeah, it's not the easiest to
Mhm.
find genuine people. However, you can find someone who is great, someone who is real with you, but maybe you might just be the drama. You might just be the problem, which is why, like in the previous episode, I think this was probably the first or second episode where I did like a call to introspection.
Mm.
You have to look within. You are not this saint that you think you are. Every one of us is flawed. And even if you think you might not be that bad, it just might be that there's something about you that just kind of rubs off wrongly on someone else, you know? So for me, it's like, okay, I see this person. They probably don't mean harm. So I'm not going to look at them negatively. I would give them the benefit of the doubt, even though like the action itself, not them, the action is what I find annoying. I'm not going to take offense. I'm not going to hold a grudge because someone has done something unintentionally. So that's one. You looking within and saying, rather than pointing fingers and be like, why would this person speak to me like that? Okay, how about you also manage your reaction? Because you cannot control what people do, but you can control how you react to certain things. So that's where introspection comes in. Like, be quick to say out. In fact, I would say that it is from a place of love that you will look within first before you look
Mm.
to the other person's faults. You look within and be like, what did I say to warrant this type of reaction? Or what is going on in this person's mind? Or just basically making up excuses enough. Now, if you want to address it, which is where effective communication comes in, by all means, address it. So that's one of the things you need to look out for in a friendship. Is this person considerate of me? Is this person willing to inconvenience themselves from time to time for me? Now, please, that doesn't give you a pass to just stress people. I think we have to be very empathetic, understand that they are who they are. Sometimes, yeah, I think it even shows even greater love if you are willing to manage yourself so that you can be more comfortable around who they are. But if you are constantly the one giving and giving, constantly the one coming out of your comfort zone, trying to be there for somebody or adjust yourself for a person and they're not meeting you halfway, then I don't know. I think it's something to call out. I don't think anybody deserves to be in a relationship where they're not valued. People, your friends should be able to see your growth or to see things about you and think, oh, this has happened and I love this person, so I'm going to be supportive of you. I'm not just going to leave you hanging just because things have happened in your life and I'm no longer able to accommodate them. And quite frankly, if anyone decides that, they're free to go. Do not for any reason put yourself in a position where you are like a pushover or people can walk all over you because you are desperate to keep the longevity of the friendship. And I think that's something to really remember. Now, my girls, I know that both of you are each other's right hand and left arm. Do you have other friends who take up a special place in your heart as well? I know that people feel like, oh, if I can just have this type of friend, then I'm good. But what about the other people in your life? Yes, they might not be your best friends, but like, how are you able to keep friendships? Because I imagine that you are not the only friends you both have.
Mm.
Mhm.
Unless you are, oh my God.
Oh
But please
no,
tell us,
no.
tell us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have other friends, lots of other friends. Okay, maybe not lots actually. That sounds like a whole lot of people, but we do have other friends. And I think it's interesting to see how different friendship dynamics work out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've had like very wonderful people in my life, especially within the last 1 year, who have just like happened to share um days, weeks, months, and like special events with, right? And so this just means that automatically you form like a bond, and these are people who we also like share the same values, right? So because I'm someone again that by default is to sit back and let bygones be bygones, right? And I think this is me calling myself out. This ended up being like a defense mechanism because I'm not quite, I'm very soft hearted, right? And when I love people, I love people. So in a bid to kind of defend myself, I'll guess I'll just do well. If it happens, it happens, and then not try not to let people get too close. But recently, especially in the past like 6 months, I have been taking deliberate effort to like reach out to my friends, reach out to people, and just like even if it's replying Instagram stories, right? And because a lot of the people around me now are like creatives. These are people who like have like maybe creative blogs, videos, podcasts like this one. I try my best to like support their businesses because this is a way that you can show up for people as well, right? You might not be able to see people physically, you might not be able to um have calls with them as much as you used to, maybe just because people are now in adulting, have 9 to 5s, commuting long hours and things like that. But just making sure your presence is felt, right? Remembering important things like birthdays. I had a friend who recently wrote an examination, and I had to put a reminder for it on my calendar and be like, send this person a prayer in the morning of our exams, and like checking after, like, okay, how are you feeling, right? Because I know that just by the what's it called? Is this law of physics that if you don't push yourself, okay, scratch that. I've forgotten everything about physics. But basically, if something will remain standing until you push it, I've forgotten what they
Yeah,
call that
like
thing.
Newton's law, first law of motion, I
motion.
God bless you, my scholars.
think.
So I have to push myself. Like I literally have to push myself and like be sending calendar invites. I think Melody and I, with one of our other friends, we literally have like a bi-weekly calendar meeting. And like even
Wow.
if we cannot
It's
meet
the
it,
intentionality for
yeah,
me.
like even if we cannot meet it, it's not we have to text each other and say, oh, I cannot meet it and reschedule. Like, oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
we've all seen the calendar invite. I can say you not see it. Right.
Mhm.
So it's the little things like that. And just making people feel loved in their own way, like making sure people feel loved. You don't want to take people for granted. It's just
Yeah.
because if people are reaching out to you 3 times, 4 times, and then they're not getting like a response, of course, their own natural response would be to withdraw. Right. And
Yeah.
in your
It's
heart, you're
very
actually
true.
genuinely loving those people and like you care about them. Oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
without that action that shows it, right?
Mm.
People will just withdraw.
I love how you said you need to show up for people, especially as adults. The whole idea of setting reminders, it's normal. It doesn't mean you don't love them. In fact, it shows the extent of your love
Yeah.
that you are able to say, I am going to put everything aside and dedicate this part of my day to checking up on
Mhm.
somebody.
Yeah.
So you can have your very tight friend, your very close friend, and you can also still be a solid friend to other people.
Yeah.
Love on them as much as you can. If you are so busy, and obviously sometimes we have a lot of things going on, you have to be there as a daughter, as a sister, whatever it is. You also have all these other relationships that you need to manage, and then you're working a 9 to 5, you're doing a side hustle if you are doing one, or if you're in school you are studying. Obviously you can't kill yourself, and it is very important that you pace yourself, and that's where scheduling comes in. Do what it takes to preserve your relationships, to preserve your friendships, and know that you don't need only one friend.
Mm-hmm.
You can have multiple friends. You can have people who are pouring into you on different fronts.
Mhm.
If you have been hurt, if there is some sort of friendship hurt that you have experienced, and that has made you give up on the idea of genuine friendships, I want you to know that it should not be the end of the road for you. Yes, you may have been hurt by someone. We all have. And yet there are still even more wonderful people who want to meet you, know you, and love you. If you haven't given up on your relationship with your family as many times as they've hurt you, if you haven't given up on your relationship with your romantic partner as many times as they've hurt you, please don't give up on friendships. It's okay to end a friendship and try to build a new one, just like Faith and Melody have told us. So I want to encourage you to know that you can heal from that trauma. If possible, speak to someone, unpack the things that you are feeling, and just start your journey towards healing so that when you meet another friend, your trauma or your experiences will not be the reason why this won't work. So, first of all, you need to go on a journey of self awareness, of healing, of introspection. Try to understand where you are and then make the decision accompanied by active steps towards being better as a person so that you can give your very best self to whoever it is that you consider to be a friend or that considers you to be a friend. Please know that genuine friendships exist and you too can benefit from that. It takes two to make a relationship work. So if you find someone who's willing to put in the work, you too must be willing to step out. You need to take that leap of faith. And guess what? If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Take situations as one offs. You are not cursed. I know it sounds funny, but like some people genuinely believe that they've been cursed to not have good friends, but you are not cursed to not have good friends. You
Yeah.
can benefit of the love that people have to give. And it's very important that you also look to people who share similar values to you. My prayer for you is that you would recognize genuine friendships when you see them and you will do what it takes to nurture them.
I think for me, I would say that take out the time to know yourself, to love yourself, and invest in yourself. So
Mm,
once you actually do that, and we're speaking to ourselves as well, sometimes you might need to sit down and be like, okay, I'm different now. I've changed in the past 3 months, 4 months. What is new about me, and how do I want to, be loved or show love to other people? So it's
yeah.
important, and don't be hard on yourself. Like you will grow into friendships. You will grow
Mm,
into anything that you want to be. So it's fine. Just take it a day at a time. Do your best to just leave your principles and your values out, and the right
Mhm.
people will come to you. So yeah.
yeah. I think I definitely agree with Melody. Like you will grow into friendships. Like when we met, we didn't set out to, I don't think I was even thinking this far of who will be my friend in 5 years, who will be my friend in 7 years, right? We just
Yeah.
grew into it, right? And along the way of you having genuine intentions, you might get hurt, but
Mhm.
please don't let that limit you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sharing your life, because even aside romantic relationship, as a person, like as a married person or someone in a dating relationship, you will still need people around you. Community is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So take your time and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Brilliant. I'm really praying that you too will enjoy beautiful relationships just like the lovely Melody and Faith. Thank you
Woo!
so much. Thank you so much. This has been so enlightening and insightful and fun. But yeah, I love you both so
We
much.
love
Oh, we love you
And
too.
thank you.
Thank
But
you
yeah,
for
thank you
having us.
everyone. Thank you for sticking with us till the end. Until next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
you.
Thank you for staying to the end of this episode. For questions, feedback, and sponsorship inquiries, send us a DM on Instagram at gb_podcast or email us on the gbpod@gmail.com. See you on the next episode.